And so now I think we should all give our attention to Reverend Amy Steinberg.
Good morning. I'm going to give you some music and some message, and it's all going to connect to this idea of generosity and generousness. So I thought I'd start with a song of mine called So Rich, because I feel so rich today. Do you feel rich? Let's say, I am so rich. I am so rich. So we're going to sing a little chant and you'll learn it. And I'll tell you some stories. I'll connect with you about a few things. Try this little ministry hat on for myself. So I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for coming. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich, you got it? Try it, please. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So filthy, stinking rich. Driven in joy, driven in peace, driven in love, driven in joy, driven in peace, driven in love, we are so rich. Broken hearts and bloody beatbox. Try so rich one more time. Now we know rich, right? So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. I'm barefoot because I'm at the beach, right? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you again for having me. And I do feel so rich. And I wanted to start with the idea of richness today because I feel that the divine essence never runs out, right? It is the eternal nature of life, this ever expanding energy of life that is God as we know it in New Thought. And I remember when I was learning about love in ministerial school, the word love, I remember we were doing what we called stand and delivers, and he called on me, my teacher, and said, "What is love?" And I said, I quoted Ernest Holmes, which is the divine givingness of spirit, the eternal givingness of spirit. That's love. Yes.
You need to get closer to your mic.
I need to get closer to the mic. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to have to lean. The divine givingness of spirit. And he said, yeah, that's what Ernest Holmes says. What is love? That's what they do in class. They ask you again. And then I'm like, I don't know, right? Because I didn't quite get it. And basically, it's the infinite potentiality of life. It is the infinite possibility. It's never going to run out. Love never runs out. There is an eternal generosity of spirit that is in our life. And if you struggle with sort of getting that idea, I want you to think about, let me just do a little poll here. Who here has been in love? Who here has had their heart broken? If you don't have your hands up, don't worry, you will. It's a wonderful gift of life, the greatest divine gift there is, the breaking of the heart open. When we're in love, think about when you're in love. You are what Chris Rock says, the comedian says that for the first 3 years of a relationship, you're dating the person's representative. I just love that. But what I think of it as is you're dating someone's highest self. I think that when we are first in love and we're so high on that juice, that good dopamine that's released, it's just our highest self. We are so generous. We are so giving. We are so loving. Think about it. You want to do things for your new love. You want to show up, and you have all this energy. And to me, that is the essence of spirit. And if we can be in love, if we can live that way, not in that romantic way, but if we can just take that and make that agape love, that will be naturally generous. We will be naturally generous. So my title of my talk today is To Give or Not to Give. That is the question, because, I'm theater trained. I have a BA in theater. So to give or not, it's very much that. But then I heard that, 2 weeks ago, somebody gave, who was it? Are they here? Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Gave a talk called To Tithe or Not to Tithe. So I thought that was really funny that because the talk title just kind of downloaded. And I think that when we talk about generosity, and we talk about giving, it is so, so important to sort of check yourself before you wreck yourself. In other words, you cannot give from an empty cup. You can't. And, I have one person in particular in my life, I won't say who it is, but they basically tell me about this teaching. Oh, I don't do all that self-love stuff. I'm not into that self-love stuff. Well, guess what? This teaching teaches us that there's only one. There's only one. So when I am loving myself, it pours over onto you. If I am not into self-love stuff, I am not going to be, it's RuPaul, RuPaul says it, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else, right? You really have to get into that. And it's not as easy as we say it is, right? Oh, I love myself, I'm going to do affirmations in the mirror. No, it's practice. It's digging up the old stories, reconfiguring them, retooling them, taking time for you. I have to presence the awareness of my mom, because as I was preparing this talk this week, I've been traveling a lot since I got this ministerial. I'm really excited to speak and find maybe a pulpit, try to be like Rev Todd, and try to do this for my life. And so I've been traveling, and I don't know about you, but as my physical body is getting older, traveling is a little more draining, right? It's a little more exhaustive. And so when I got home, my mom happened to move near me a couple of years ago, which I hadn't been in her orbit in 30 years. God love her. She's just not in this teaching. We'll just say that. And I was raised very Jewish. So, it's like everything's horrible and terrible. And I'm learning how to sort of filter it and love her and know that she's, who is it? That she's doing her best. And I do love her. But I have learned, primarily because my siblings sort of told me, you gotta say no. You have to say, you know what, today, I can't meet with you today, but I'll be there tomorrow. And who here has done some caregiving? It is exhausting. It is exhausting. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. So when we talk about generosity, I feel like it's not just our time, our talents, our treasures, it's our attention. It's our consciousness. Like, what am I giving my consciousness to? What am I gifting my energy to? And sometimes we have to say no, right? And as I was thinking about generosity and I was thinking about this gift of attention and what do we give our attention to, I came across a wonderful Buddhist story, which is the story of the Buddha. He's giving a lecture. And as he's giving the lecture, there's somebody in the back of the room who is hurling insults at him the whole time, right? Just telling him all about himself the whole time. And the Buddha is just simply not responding, just continues on his talk and just continues on his teaching. And at the end of the talk, the man comes up to the Buddha and says, "Hey, I've been trying to tell you about yourself this whole time, and you're not receiving what I'm saying back there. Why aren't you receiving what I'm giving you here?" And the Buddha takes a breath, as ministers and teachers do. You might see Todd take a breath here and there. And Buddha says, when you give a gift to somebody and they don't receive it, who does it belong to? And the man says, well, it belongs to the person. I do not receive your insults and your anger. You can keep that for yourself, says the Buddha, right? So we have to decide, right? We have to decide what we want to give, what we want to receive, and what we want to give our attention to. And it's sort of a sifting and sorting, and it's a learning process. And we can feel when somebody's energy drains us. Can we not feel it?
Yes.
Can we not feel it, right? So on the flip side of that, sometimes we need each other. We do need each other all the time, but we need each other to witness. This is why I believe like cognitive group therapy, 12 steps, just having a talk therapist, having someone that just listens and doesn't hurl their unsolicited advice at you, but just witnesses for you is so healing for us. When you hear me talk or Reverend Todd talk, you are in your mind having your story go on, right? You are witnessing for yourself. You're observing how does this relate to me? How can I find this story in me? And that's that witnessing that we do for each other in community. This is why it's so important to come in or tune in on Zoom, to chat with us, to connect with each other, to say, I'm here to receive you and to witness for you. And I'm going to sing another song, and it's called Witness. And it was inspired by an experience that I had. So I was very upset about something probably having to do with my mother. And I hate to, does anybody have mother? Is there anybody here that has mother stuff? I don't mean to, some people have like the most amazing, and my mom is amazing. I know, both hands. So my mom is amazing, but she's like my greatest teacher, right? She's my greatest teacher. And I know that I recently just heard of you losing your mom. It's Kath, right? And so I presence that awareness too, that they're not here forever, and we really do have to be so grateful for our time with them. And my mom is probably going to live to 100, just like your mom, and she's 75. So we've got some time left, I think, I know. And so anyway, I was very upset, and I was venting to a friend. I vented, and I remember I was coming in from the grocery store. I was on the phone, I was multitasking. And I just sighed, I hung up the phone, and I walked through the doorway to my house. I remember very specifically, I walked through the doorway. I feel like doorways are a gift for you, this, one of your little takeaways today, I hope, is doorways. Whenever you walk into a new room, a new space, give it the opportunity, I can start again. What Abraham Hicks calls it is segment intending. Like, okay, I'm walking into this room, I'm having this experience. I'm walking into this room. I hadn't thought about this until I thought about it yesterday. So I walked into my house and I felt different. And I was like, oh, okay, I walked into the house, I feel different. Why do I feel different? I think that's because my friend just witnessed for me. Sometimes all you need is for a witness. Sometimes all you need is for a witness. And I started to feel the spirit moving through me, and then this song just came right through me. It just came on through. Is everything okay with the sound? Is there an issue? It's you. Online. I'm sorry, guys, if you can't hear it. Okay, hi. So, sometimes all we need is just to be heard, just to be seen, just to be witnessed. And what grace and gratitude we have to have each other for that. And I heard this wonderful story listening to a Tara Brach podcast that I must share about attention and witness. And you're going to love this story. I just love it. So there's a little boy. His name was Paul. And he lived in a small town, very small town. And his family had one of the very first telephones in the neighborhood. And he would see his mom. He was a single parent, and his mom worked during the day. And he would see his mom occasionally call this number 411, and there'd be somebody on the other line named Information, please. Information. They would pick up the phone. So one day, Paul, 7 years old, was home alone and hurt himself, hit his thumb with a hammer, and had nobody to witness his pain, so held in the tears, didn't have anybody to witness it, so remembered that he could call Information. So he dialed 411, Information, please. And he just started, because he had a witness, right? You know that? Like when you get that witness and you can let it out. She's like, are you okay? My finger. She says, is it bleeding? And he said, no. She said, okay, well, I want you to go to the ice box, get some ice, put some ice on it. So he went to the ice and put the ice on it. Said, thank you. He hung up the phone. Well, he proceeded to call Information for everything over the next few years. She taught him how to spell the word fix. She taught him about state capitals. And something tragic happened to him when he was about 11. His pet bird died. And he just didn't understand it. So he called Information, please. He said, I just don't get it. I just don't get why my bird would be singing in my life. Why my bird would be there 1 minute and then gone the next. And Information, please, took a breath and said, there are other worlds to sing in. And he remembered that. And anytime something happened, she would say that to him, there are other worlds to sing in. Well, time passed and he went to college and he went out east to Boston, where there was no Information, please, and there was certainly not the same woman every time he called. So he missed that. And he had gotten engaged, so he was going back to his hometown, and he just wanted to see if she was still there. So he dialed the number, and there she is. Information, please. And he says, can you tell me how to spell the word fix? And she says, oh, I'm so glad you called. He says, I'm getting married, and I wanted to tell you, and you just have no idea how much you helped me in that time in my life. And she says, you have no idea how much you helped me at that time in my life, because I didn't have children, and I would wait for your phone calls. It just touches my heart, right? So a few more years, and he says, I don't even know your name. And she says, Sally. My name is Sally. And you can call back anytime you're in town, and I'll be happy to take your call. So a few more years pass, and he's having a child, and he goes back home again, and he picks up the phone, and he dials 411, and another voice answers. And he says, can I please speak to Sally? And the voice says, I'm so sorry to tell you, but Sally has passed on. And his heart just sinks. And he was like, okay, well, thank you. And she says, but you're not Paul, are you? Are you Paul? And he says, yes, I'm Paul. And she says, well, Sally left you a message and wants you to know there are other worlds to sing in. And that story to me epitomizes those tiny ripples, those tiny moments in our life that we can give, even just a smile, even just patience, even just an extra tip for wait staff, especially if you see that waitress, you can feel the sadness in her or him. Sorry, server. Waitress is not a proper word anymore, I've just learned. So it's funny because I read that story, and then we're going to talk about hell now. I read that story, and then just the other day, I'm so rich that I accidentally paid my bills twice. And I looked at my bank statement, and I am so rich, but I'm not rich enough that I can pay my bills twice. So I call my bank and I say, there's double charges on a couple of my bills. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to call, the billing company, like the company itself, because we don't handle that. You made the mistake, basically. So I call, Dominion or whatever the energy, and that one goes pretty smooth. And the second bill I call, it was the waiting music, the like 2 bars of bad jazz over and over again, and I try, I'm patient, you are number 2 in the queue. We were talking about, it was called Hold Hell. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm thinking about my talk and I'm thinking about generosity and I just can't wait to connect with this operator, and click, it just hangs up on me. When you're on hold, all of a sudden it hangs up on you. You are number 1 in the queue. Well, of course I am. I was just number 2. So the woman picks up and I'm just laughing with her and I'm telling her sort of the story and everything like that. And she was just so kind. And we had this like really tender moment. And she was just like, have a fantastic weekend. And I'm, going to get the money back, of course. But it was just such a funny little, those are the times when the rubber meets the road with these teachings, is when you're in line, when you're in traffic, when you're on hold. DMV. These are really I lost my fob for my rental car when I was in San Diego. I mean, just go there in your mind, right? Like just the frustration and the amount of people I had to talk to on the phone and the amount of hoops and everything. And it's just every little hoop, every little step. It was like, I can connect with someone. Something's going to happen where I make somebody's day. Oftentimes I'll be like, hi, I'm a musician. Look me up. I'm Amy Steinberg. Which brings me to sort of the story of yesterday with Amy over there. She told me that she was going through a rough time a couple of years ago, and somebody prescribed her one of my songs. Said, you are to listen to this song every day and as needed. Every morning and then as needed. How much do you love that? And I had no idea that my song was over there healing somebody a couple years ago. And I get messages all the time from people saying, this song helped me through that. This song helped me through that. You just don't know the ripples that you're making in the world. And it's pretty awesome. So what else did I want to tell you about? Well, in studying New Thought, one of the things that we have to study in ministerial, I don't know if it's the same for Unity, but you have to study psychology, because this is a teaching of the mind, really. It's the teaching of the consciousness. And so the study of psychology is fascinating. It really, really is. And I love learning about like conditioning and how your brain works. And positive psychology is actually a thing. That's what we're doing here, really, is we're affirming the good, and we're knowing the good, and we're knowing that love never runs out, and we're knowing that we are so rich, and all of this. And what I love is this idea of reinforcement, positive reinforcement. that they have now really, really learned that love is going to get us, where we need to be. It's not the punishment. It's the reward, and that's like the studies from B.F. Skinner and all of these amazing psychologists that did all these crazy, experiments with people where they saw what would happen to behavior if you reward, what happened to behavior if you punish, right? And some of you may have grown up in sort of a punishment-based idea. And we were talking about God this morning. So funny. Here's Job. Here comes Job. All right, let's see what Job. I kept getting this idea that I was supposed to talk about Job this morning. I'm not into the Bible. I don't know why, but I think it's funny. So I did some research on Job. And first of all, this is sort of this idea that there's a punishing God. Maybe that's how this ties in, this reward and this. I just want to say, first of all, it's Job. It's not Job. If it was Job, there'd be an E. It's Job. And it's the oldest. There's many places that say, sources that say that it's the oldest book of the Bible. That, they put them all in different order. That's the first one that was written, Job. Since the beginning of this religious movement of Western religiosity, we've had a trouble with jobs, with our job. Think about that, right? And I've always thought that Job, first of all, it's 42 chapters. I tried to read it this morning. I was like, no, it's too long. It's really long. And it's basically him complaining for 42 chapters. And then his friends telling him to stop complaining. And then God telling him to stop complaining. And then the devil being like, see, God, see, he's complaining. And I really can't make heads or tails of the story, to be honest with you, other than the fact that God does reward Job, takes everything away from him, and then rewards him with double. And I'm going to have to go into prayer to figure out what this all means. But I just find it to be, all the things in the Bible are to be metaphysical, right? Because this is metaphysical teaching. So all the characters are us. They're aspects of us. So there's a part of us that is that lower self, that devil that's always tempting us to take things away or run away. And then there's that highest self that's always saying, keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith. And then we are in the middle going, traffic, right? Like the Job of us, the job of life. And our job as New Thought practitioners, I'm going to say it, you are all practitioners. Ernest Holmes said everybody's a practitioner, which means that we are healing the world with our consciousness. Our job is to hold the high watch, is to be in love with everything, to be in love, in divine love, eternal givingness with spirit. That's your job. Is that the tie-in? Is that maybe the Job? I've talked his ear off about Job. What do you think about Job? Why is Job? So I don't know, but maybe you got something. Maybe somebody got a little nugget from that. But my job as a minister is to inspire you, excite you, maybe get you to see something, think of something, get happy. Come on, get happy. But my favorite part of this job is to consciously heal with prayer. Affirmative prayer. So I thought I would close. I'm going to close with a song, but also before we go into that song, I want to do a group prayer for us because that's my job now. So I'm going to get my phone. So I can jot. Oh, there's a pen. And I don't want everybody to shout out, but tell me what you need prayer for. Mother. Because there's only one mind, right? Only one mind. What else? Protection. Safety. Health. Wholeness. How about one more? Daughter. How perfect.
Peace.
Peace.
Strength.
Strength. Come on. One more ease. Ease and grace, baby. Ease and grace. All right, let's go into prayer now. So let's take a moment. Let's just take a moment. I invite you to close your eyes. If you're watching on Zoom, just listen to the sound of my voice. If you can close your eyes. Just take a deep breath in with me. Whew. Right here, right now, I tap in, I tune in to the divine givingness of Spirit, to the love that is all things, that is everything, that is expressing as this beautiful community, that is expressing as me, that is using my words to heal, to reveal the truth of who we are, which is divine love. So I speak my word for the Crystal Coast unity, knowing that my word is powerful. It is active. It is activating. It is the truth. And I'm just speaking it. I'm knowing it. I'm knowing it to be good. I'm knowing it to be very, very good. I'm knowing it as a daughter myself. I'm knowing it as a daughter that loves and cares for my mother. And I'm knowing that mothers everywhere, there's a healing going on, a revealing of the truth of the mother earth, the mother inside, the mother all around. That we are all mothering, we are motherly, we are nurturing, we are generous, we are safe. We are held in the arms of divine love, and we are protected by this love. We are safe in the arms of love. And it is in this beautiful space of wholeness, this oneness, this daughter, this mother, this allness, that we know a deep, deep, abiding peace. It washes over us from head to toe. We feel peace in our words. We are guided by peace. Peace is all there is. And it is in this peace that we feel strong. We are grounded and rooted in the truth of life, the truth of an everlasting divine life, a love that never, ever runs out. And because we know this, we know that it is easy breezy. It is so easy to be loving. I declare a note for everyone in here today that we are easily loving. We are easily patient. We are easily generous with our money, our time, our talent, our treasures, our atención. We are generous. We are giving, we are loving. And first and foremost, to ourselves. We are loving to the point where our love overflows into our community, into our hearts. And so as I know this for myself and for everybody here, I know this for everybody on this planet, that there is a peace that prevails, that holds us, that reveals through our lives. And I am so, so deeply, deeply grateful to be able to speak this word with power, to be able to know this for each and every one of us here. So I thank God, and I release my word as law, because I'm powerful. And together we say, amen, amen, and so it is. And now, I'm going to ask that we take a moment of quietude, and then I'm going to close with a song of mine called Love Never Runs Out. So let's just take a moment to let all those words I just said sort of sink in. is wider than the sky, deeper than the sea. It is eternal. It is eternal. It is eternal. And its love never runs out. There is a place in me knows true beauty. It is higher than the mountains, goes further than all the galaxies. It is eternal. It is eternal. It is eternal. And its love never runs out. So slow down, reach out, give all you have to give, 'cause we are holy and we know we have more than we need to live a life of abundance, compassion, and love that never runs out, never runs out, never runs out. Never runs, never runs, never runs, never runs out. This love. There is a part of you remembers who you are. You're the breath of God, and I stand in awe. We are eternal. We are eternal. We are eternal. And this love never runs out. So slow down, reach out, give all you have to give. We are holy and we know we have more than we need to live a life of abundance, compassion, and love that never runs out, never runs out, never runs out. This love never runs out. This love never runs out. Thank you so much, everybody.